Commander Jack Rice was not used to fancy parties. He was a soldier first, a diplomat second. But now he stood in the great hall of the Aurelian Palace, surrounded by sparkling lights and tall alien nobles. The walls shone like crystals, and strange music filled the air. Jack looked out at the crowd. All eyes were on him. The humans had just joined the Galactic Alliance, and Jack was the first Earthling invited to this important event. He was nervous but proud. Suddenly, a tall figure moved through the crowd. It was Princess Talira, the youngest daughter of the Aurelian royal family. She wore a dress that shimmered like the stars. Her eyes were sharp and bright. She smiled at Jack and walked straight to him. "Human," she said loudly, "I have watched your world. I know you are strong and brave." Jack blinked, unsure how to answer. Then she surprised everyone. "I ask you to marry me." The hall fell silent. Jack's mouth opened, but no words came out. Was this a joke? A test? The princess's face was serious. He remembered what the ambassador had said. "Accept the offer. It is a symbol of friendship between our peoples." So Jack nodded slowly. "I accept," he said. The princess smiled wide. "Good. Then it is decided." Suddenly, the music changed to a festive tune. The crowd cheered. People raised their glasses. Jack felt like a prize in a strange game. As the night went on, Jack tried to enjoy the food and music, but he kept thinking, "Did I just agree to marry an alien princess? What does this mean for Earth?" Then, from behind, a voice spoke sharply. "Human, you cannot just marry me." It was a younger woman, her eyes flashing with anger. Jack turned to see Princess Varel, Talira's sister. She stepped forward, her voice loud. "My sister demands that you take me as well." The hall gasped again. Jack's mind raced. "Take her as well. What does that mean?" Talira laughed. "It is our custom. The one who marries a princess must marry her sister too. It keeps peace in our family." Jack looked at the two princesses. They were very different. Talira was bold and confident. Varel was fierce and proud. He felt a sudden headache. "Wait," Jack said, raising his hands. "I did not know about this custom. I need time to understand." But the crowd was already talking. Aliens from many planets were watching. Some smiled, some looked surprised. Earth's newest hero was now caught in a royal family drama he did not expect. That night, Jack lay awake in his guest room. He stared at the ceiling, thinking about the strange customs, the princesses, and the future. "Human, you are not just a soldier anymore," he whispered to himself. "You are part of something much bigger." Outside, the stars shone bright over Aurelia. A new chapter had begun. The next morning, Commander Jack Rice woke up to a flood of messages on his communication device. His eyes opened wide as he read the headlines from across the galaxy. "Human Aurelian engagement shocks the universe." "Alien princess marries Earth's champion." "Sisters demand double wedding." What will Jack do? The news was everywhere. The entire Galactic Alliance was talking about Jack's surprise engagement to Princess Talira. And now, the new demand from her sister, Princess Varel. Jack sighed and rubbed his temples. He had barely had time to understand one alien culture, and now he faced a much bigger problem. On Earth, his own government was confused. Some leaders worried this marriage would drag humanity into alien politics they did not understand. Others were excited, hoping Jack's connection with the Aurelians would bring new allies. But Jack felt overwhelmed. He never asked to become a royal. He was a soldier, not a prince. Meanwhile, on Aurelia, the two princesses were watching the news with very different feelings. Princess Talira smiled confidently. "This is good," she said to her closest advisors. "Humans will now respect us more. This marriage will bring peace and power." But Princess Varel frowned. "No," she said sharply. "I want my place too. Jack cannot just marry my sister. He must marry me as well. It is our law." The royal court buzzed with excitement and worry. Many nobles whispered that this old tradition was strange, but no one dared to challenge the princesses. Back on Jack's ship, his friend and advisor, Lieutenant Mira, laughed as she scrolled through the alien social feeds. "Human, you are a star. Look at these memes. People love how you are dealing with royal drama." Jack shook his head but smiled. "I just want to survive this without causing a galactic crisis." Just then, his communications officer interrupted. "Commander, we have a visitor from the Aurelian court. They want to discuss the situation." Jack nodded and followed the officer to a quiet room. There stood Ambassador Kale, an Aurelian with calm eyes and a serious face. "Commander Reyes," Kale said, "the princesses expect you to learn their customs quickly. The trials of balance will begin soon. It is a test of strength, wisdom, and heart." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Trials? What kind of tests?" Kale smiled slightly. "You will see. They are ancient and not easy. But if you pass, you will prove you are worthy of both princesses." Jack looked at Kale and then thought of the sisters, their sharp eyes and strong wills. He sighed. "I don't know if I'm ready for this, but I will try." Kale nodded. "Good. The galaxy is watching, human. You are no longer just one man. You are a symbol." As Jack left the room, he felt the weight of his new role. The future was unclear, but one thing was certain. Nothing about this marriage would be simple. Outside the palace, Aurelia's twin suns set, casting golden light over the city. Jack knew that soon his life would change forever. The day of the trials of balance arrived faster than Jack expected. The palace was alive with excitement and tension. Jack stood in the large training hall, watching the two princesses, Lyra and Virel, prepare for the trials. The Aurelian tradition was clear. To marry a princess, the suitor had to pass these tests. They were a mix of physical challenges, mental puzzles, and social skills. Many had tried before and failed. Jack felt a knot in his stomach, but kept his face calm. He was a soldier, trained for danger. Still, this was very different from anything he had done. The first trial was a combat test. Jack was led into an arena with strange weapons and opponents. His first opponent was an Aurelian warrior, fast and skilled. The fight began. Jack dodged, blocked, and used his experience. But the Aurelian style was unfamiliar, fluid, and graceful. Jack had to think quickly. Instead of fighting with strength alone, he used his mind. He noticed the warrior's pattern, then used his environment, bouncing off walls and ducking under beams. The crowd gasped as Jack turned the fight in his favor with clever moves. When the fight ended, Jack was sweaty and tired but smiling. The princesses clapped, impressed. Next came the mental challenges. Jack sat before a glowing puzzle, full of shifting lights and alien symbols. He had to solve it before time ran out. At first, he felt lost. The symbols made no sense. Then he remembered how humans sometimes think differently. He looked for patterns, used logic, and worked steadily. Slowly, the puzzle lights blinked green. The hall erupted in cheers. The last part of the trial was about social skills, empathy, and understanding. Jack was led to meet delegates from many planets. He had to listen to their concerns and find solutions. Jack spoke honestly, with kindness and humor. He asked questions and showed he cared. The delegates nodded, surprised by the human sincerity. After the trials, the princesses approached him. "You surprised us," said Lyra. "Humans have a strange way of thinking." Virel smiled. "But it works. You may be worthy of us both." Jack felt a mix of relief and pride. He was starting to understand this strange culture, and himself. That night, Jack sat with the two princesses on the palace balcony. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky with orange and purple. Lyra looked at him. "You fought well, but the trials are only the beginning." Virel added, "Our family has secrets. You will need to know them if you want to stay." Jack looked at the stars and nodded. "I'm ready to learn." As the cool night breeze blew, Jack knew one thing clearly. This journey would be harder than any battle he had fought before. The palace was full of guests for the ceremony celebrating Jack's success in the trials of balance. Lights glittered like stars, and music filled the great hall. The two princesses, Lyra and Viril, stood proudly by Jack's side. Everyone was happy, but Jack felt a strange tension in the air. Something didn't feel right. As Jack looked around, his eyes caught a shadow moving quickly near the balcony. Before he could react, a sudden explosion shook the hall. People screamed and ducked for cover. Jack's training kicked in immediately. He pushed the princesses behind a tall crystal pillar. Glass shattered, and dust filled the air. When the smoke cleared, Jack saw the source of the attack, a hidden drone with sharp blades buzzing near the princesses. Without hesitation, Jack grabbed a fallen piece of metal and threw it, hitting the drone. It crashed to the floor with a spark. The hall was quiet again. The guests stared in shock. The royal guards rushed in, surrounding Jack and the princesses. The queen's voice rang out, firm and angry. "Who dares to attack my daughters?" Jack shook his head. "I don't know, but it was not meant for me." The queen looked puzzled. "What do you mean?" Jack explained what he saw. The drone was programmed to target the princesses, not him. Someone inside the palace wanted to hurt them. The royal advisors started whispering nervously. The atmosphere changed from celebration to suspicion. Later, Jack was taken to a private room where Ambassador Kale awaited him. "The palace has many enemies," Kale said quietly. "Some nobles do not want the human alliance. They may try to stop the marriage." Jack frowned. "This is bigger than I thought." Lyra and Viril came in together. Their faces were serious. "We trust you," Lyra said, "but you must be careful. Not everyone wants this union." Viril nodded. "There are secrets in our family. You will need to discover the truth." Jack looked at the two sisters. Their usual friendly smiles were gone. Instead, he saw worry and determination. He felt the weight of responsibility. Protecting the princesses was not just a duty, it was a fight for the future of peace. That night, Jack sat alone in his room, thinking. The attack was a warning. Someone powerful wanted to stop the alliance. But Jack was not afraid. He whispered to himself, "If they want war, they will get it, but I will fight to protect those who trust me." Outside, the twin suns dipped below the horizon, and Aurelia's night sky stretched wide and dark. The battle for the royal family's future had begun. After the assassination attempt, the palace was quieter, but the pressure on Jack grew heavier. The royal advisors insisted that Jack must take part in the formal courtship, a series of rituals designed to prove his worth to both princesses and their people. Jack was nervous. He had fought battles and survived alien politics, but this was something new. The courtship was full of strange customs, tests of patience, and endless ceremonies. The first event was a dance. Jack had never been a good dancer, but the princesses watched closely. He stumbled at first, stepping on his partner's foot, but then he laughed and relaxed. Lyra smiled, and Viril nodded approvingly. His humor was not part of the tradition, but it worked. Next came the telepathic honesty circle, a practice where all involved shared their feelings openly, without hiding anything. Jack was worried. He was used to keeping his thoughts private. Sitting in a circle with the princesses and their closest friends, Jack felt a strange energy. When it was his turn, he spoke honestly. "I don't understand all your customs. I don't know if I can be the prince you expect. But I promise to learn, to listen, and to protect you both." The circle was silent for a moment. Then, Lyra smiled warmly. "Your honesty is rare and valuable." Viril reached out and touched Jack's hand gently. "We see you, human." But not everything was easy. Jack faced tests of strength and mind from the royal advisors. One day, he had to solve a complex puzzle with no instructions. Another day, he sparred with Aurelian warriors who tried to tire him out. Jack used what he knew from Earth, thinking outside the box, using humor to ease tensions, and never giving up. Slowly, the princess's opinions of him changed. He was no longer just a guest or a soldier. He was becoming part of their world. One evening, while walking through the palace gardens, Lyra and Varel talked to Jack about their hopes and fears. "We want peace," said Lyra, "but we also want respect. Our family's traditions are old, but sometimes hard to change." Varel added, "You are different from other suitors. You make us laugh. You fight with your mind, not just your strength. That matters." Jack looked at the stars above. "I want to help build a future where we all belong. Together." The sisters smiled, and for the first time, Jack felt hope. But he knew the courtship was far from over. The political games inside the palace were still dangerous. Enemies lurked, and trust was fragile. Still, Jack was ready to face whatever came next. He was not just a human anymore. He was a symbol of change, and he would not fail. Days passed after the courtship rituals, and Jack felt closer to the princesses. Yet, the palace still held many secrets, secrets that whispered in the shadows. One afternoon, while exploring the old library, Jack found a hidden door behind a row of ancient books. Curiosity pushed him to open it. Inside was a small room filled with holographic records and strange symbols. Jack touched the controls, and a soft light showed images of the past. The images told a surprising story. Thousands of years ago, long before the Narellans ruled Aurelia, a group of humans had traveled through space. They crash-landed on this planet and helped the native species evolve. The Narellian royal family descended partly from these early humans, an ancient bond between Earth and Aurelia. Jack's heart raced. This secret could change everything. He hurried to find Ambassador Kale and the princesses. Kale listened carefully when Jack told him what he had found. "Yes," Kale said quietly. "This history has been hidden for centuries. Revealing it could upset the royal court and the galaxy." Lyra looked thoughtful. "If people learn the truth, some may question our family's right to rule." Varel nodded. "But it also means we share a bond stronger than politics or bloodlines." Jack thought deeply. Maybe this secret can bring our people closer. Kale warned, "You must be careful. Not everyone wants the past uncovered." That night, Jack sat with the princesses in the palace garden under the stars. Lyra spoke softly. "Our family's power is tied to traditions. Changing those traditions is dangerous." Varel added, "But the truth could help us all." Jack looked at the glowing twin moons above. "I believe we are stronger when we face the truth together." The sisters smiled, feeling a new hope. But in the palace shadows, some nobles plotted to keep the secret hidden. They feared change. Jack knew his role was growing more important. He was no longer just a soldier or a diplomat. He was a bridge between two worlds. As the night deepened, Jack whispered to himself, "The past may be hidden, but the future is ours to build." Outside, Aurelia's twin suns slowly rose, bringing a new day and new challenges. The palace buzzed with whispers and nervous glances. Jack felt the weight of the secret he had uncovered pressing on him like a heavy cloak. One evening, a quiet knock came at Jack's door. He opened it to find Ambassador Kale standing there, his face serious. "Jack," Kale said quietly, "there is someone you must meet. Someone who knows the truth and can help us." Jack followed Kale through dim hallways to a small, hidden chamber. Inside sat an old woman with silver hair and bright eyes. "This is Elder Mira," Kale said. She was once a close advisor to the royal family and keeper of their oldest secrets. Elder Mira looked at Jack and smiled. "You have found what many have sought but feared, the ancient link between humans and Aurelians." Jack nodded. "I want to help bring peace, but I don't know where to start." Mira stood and walked slowly toward him. "First, you must understand the history fully. Then you must gain the trust of the nobles who fear change." Jack felt a new determination. "What can I do?" Mira handed him a small, glowing orb. This contains the memories of the first human settlers on Aurelia. Use it wisely. Jack took the orb carefully. Suddenly, his mind filled with images. Ships crashing into strange lands, early humans teaching the natives, and the birth of the Norellian royal bloodline. When the vision ended, Jack gasped. The truth was clearer than ever. Kale added, "You must also be cautious. There are those who will stop at nothing to keep this secret hidden." That night, Jack met with Princess Tulira and Princess Varel. He showed them the orb and shared what he learned. Tulira looked thoughtful. "If we reveal this, we risk angering powerful people." Varel nodded, "But it could unite our peoples in a way no war ever could." Jack said firmly, "We must be brave. Change begins with truth." The sisters agreed to work with him. But the next morning, Jack noticed shadowy figures watching him from the palace corridors. The threat was closer than he thought. He realized the road ahead was dangerous. But with the princesses and Elder Mira by his side, Jack felt ready. As the twin suns rose over Aurelia, Jack whispered, "For peace, I will fight every battle, seen and unseen." The days after the secret meeting were tense. Jack felt eyes watching him everywhere. In the palace halls, whispers followed his footsteps. The palace guard seemed more alert, and even the servants looked uneasy. Jack knew the shadowy figures were not just curious. They were dangerous. One evening, while Jack walked with Princess Varel through the palace gardens, a cloaked figure appeared from the shadows. "Stop!" Varel shouted, stepping in front of Jack. The figure pulled back his hood, revealing a young man with cold eyes. "You should not dig into the past," he warned. "Some secrets must remain buried." Jack stood tall. "I seek peace. The truth can help us all." The young man sneered. "You are a fool to think the nobles will allow change." Before Jack could respond, the young man vanished into the night. Varel looked worried. He is one of the palace guards loyal to the old ways. They fear losing power. Jack nodded. "We must be careful. But we cannot stop now." The next day, Jack and the princesses met with Elder Mira again. She told them more about the history of Aurelia and the humans who came long ago. "The Norellian bloodline is stronger because of this link," Mira explained. "But many nobles use the secret to keep control." Tulira clenched her fists. "Then we must show them a better way." Jack agreed. The people deserve to know the truth. They deserve a future without fear. But spreading the secret would not be easy. The palace was filled with spies and traitors. That night, Jack stayed up, planning his next move. He thought about the princesses, Elder Mira, and the future of both worlds. Suddenly, a soft knock came at his door. It was Mira, his trusted advisor. "Commander," she said quietly, "there is a message from the Galactic Alliance. They want you to attend a council meeting about the Alliance's future." Jack's mind raced. The political games were growing bigger. He nodded. "Tell them I will be there. But I must finish what I started here first." As Jack looked out the window, Aurelia's twin moons shone brightly. He knew the road ahead was dangerous, but he also knew he was not alone. Together, they would face the shadows. Jack entered the grand hall of the Galactic Council with a mixture of nerves and determination. Representatives from many planets were gathered, their faces serious and expectant. The council had heard rumors about Jack's engagement to the Aurelian princesses and the secret history he had uncovered. Now, they wanted answers. The council leader, a tall alien with shimmering blue skin, addressed Jack. "Commander Rice, the future of the Alliance depends on your actions. What do you propose?" Jack took a deep breath. The truth about Aurelia's past can unite many worlds, but only if we are honest. The humans and Aurelians share a bond that goes back centuries. This secret must be shared carefully to build trust. Some council members nodded, but others looked doubtful. A representative from a warlike planet spoke sharply. "Why should we trust a human? How do we know this won't bring more conflict? Jack met the question calmly. Because the bond between our people is real. We have already faced danger together. I am here to build peace, not war. The princesses, who had come with him, stepped forward. Lyra spoke confidently. Our family supports this alliance. The truth will strengthen us. Virel added, we ask for your trust. Together, we can create a future free from fear. After hours of debate, the council agreed to begin a plan to share the secret history with the galaxy slowly and carefully. Jack felt relief but knew the hardest work was still ahead. Back on Aurelia, the palace awaited him. The shadow of enemies still loomed. That night, Jack and the princesses talked quietly. We have started something important, Jack said. But there will be resistance. Lyra nodded. We must be ready for whatever comes. Virel looked at Jack with respect. You have changed our world. Jack smiled softly. And you have changed mine. As the twin suns set over Aurelia, Jack felt hope. The journey was far from over, but he believed in the future they were building together.